we're going to see the web services. First of all, we should know about the web service terminologies, and then what is SOA, service-oriented architecture, and why SOAP web services, and when do we use SOAP web services, types of web services in Java, and the WSDL components. Because these are the components, you can see in terminologies. I'm writing a simple Jax-WS Web Service in Java Hotspot VM, and writing client program without tool, and writing client program with wsimport tool, and writing and deploying Jax-WS Web Service in Tomcat 7, and writing client program to access deployed web service in Tomcat. How do we access the web service from the deployed service? And writing username and password authenticated web service in Jax-WS, and writing client program for authenticated web service in Jax-WS, and writing web service with user-defined objects, custom objects. How are we going to write that in web services? And testing web service from SOAP. Okay, these are things we're going to cover in today and tomorrow's session. So, in web services, these are the main terminologies. Like you should be aware of this service-oriented architecture and simple object access protocol, so SOAP protocol, and web service definition language. I told you right in the previous WSDL. It's a web service description language. It's basically an interface. We'll go through those details in the further slides here. And XML is the extensible markup language, and web service. So these are the high-level terminologies. So going to talk in web services perspective. So what is simple object access protocol? Basically, this Jax-WS Web Service will communicate over SOAP protocol. So basically, what is protocol? Set of instructions which will follow for doing certain operation, right? The same way to achieve these web services, we have to use the SOAP web service. So basically, SOAP stands for Simple Object Access Protocol, and it's a communication protocol, right? So SOAP communicates between the applications, and SOAP exchanges the data in the XML format only, okay? And it is simple and extensible. And why XML is chosen for exposing, transporting from client party to server? Yeah, it's a technology independent, basically. And you'll see each component here. So before going to talk about web services, we should know what is SOA. SOA is a service-oriented architecture. So in general, in Java program, how you guys will write? Generally, we'll be having Java API. By seeing Java API, you will come to know what are the classes present in that, and what are the methods are available, how to create the instance for that, and how to access those methods, right? Same way, but here in SOA, in the web services, we'll be having a WSDL. Okay, we'll talk in that in next session. But SOA basically it's a service provider, and service provider will provide the service like a Tomcat, for example. If you consider servlet, right? Servlet is also a server-side component, and we should be having do get and do post methods, and you guys will be using it. The same way in SOAP web services also, we can expose the service. Service is nothing but some class. Okay. Under that there will be operations. Operations basically called as methods in our normal terminologies. Okay. And we have to write the service consumer. That is the client. So we have to construct the object for the request, and then we have to send it to the service provider. And we will see how we're going to achieve that in web services. And basically, web services is an implementation of SOA. Meaning, SOA is a theoretical concept. Okay, but web service is the API which we can achieve the SOA implementation. Okay. So here we have two types of web services available in Java. One is SOAP and another one is RESTful. Okay. In SOAP, right now we are seeing Jax-WS, and Jax-RS. I think you guys have another session for that, right? Jax-RS. Yeah. So today we're going to concentrate only on Jax-WS. You're following, right? Or you guys have any questions?
In RESTful, there will be a different protocol.
RESTful, yeah, that will be communicated over HTTP protocol. This will be communicated over SOAP protocol. as I told you earlier, this is a normal Java case and this is a web service case. In normal Java, suppose if you have written some class, how do the consumer will be knowing what is the class name and what are the methods available? You have to provide some interface so that by seeing the interface, they will come to know what are the methods available, how to access those methods, and what is the return type and what is the parameters needs to be passed, right? The same. It's like I'm giving a differentiation between normal Java and web services case. Instead of interface, here WSDL will plays that a role, like intermediary, like a front face kind. Okay. WSDL actually is a web service description language. It's also, I mean, it is written in XML only. Okay. The WSDL contains the following components like definitions, type, message, port type, binding, service, and port. Don't worry about all these terminologies because you are not going to write the WSDL. The system will generate. Of course, in some cases we need to write the WSDL as well, but not so frequently. Okay, so you just try to concentrate how these WSDL contains. Okay, no need to worry about the components present, how these XML structure contains.
Why it came? Why we are using? Previously, what was the problem?
Why we are using very good question. Actually, in enterprise applications, right, we'll be having multiple modules, and each module will be written in different languages. Right? In case some cases, right, we used to write the modules in all modules in Java itself. But in case if some modules are written in .NET and which is running in Linux platform, Azure, okay, and another module is written in Java and running in Windows platform, okay. So if you want to communicate these two modules, then how they will communicate? That's where this web service comes into the picture. Okay. I mean, web service is a platform independent. So, and in between, right, these two applications, the data transfer happens through this XML. So even Java application also understands XML. Even .NET also can understands the XML. The only thing, transformation. Transformation happens here through SOAP protocol. Clear?
What is the difference between SOAP and HTTP?
SOAP is, HTTP communicates over HTTP protocol. This SOAP is the SOAP protocol. Main difference, like this internally uses the RMI concept, but SOAP and one more thing, HTTP is the stateless protocol.
Here also need to maintain session on the steps.
Here also
Session. Because HTTP is stateless, so we need to maintain status once.
Right.
That's what the SOAP protocol.
Here there is no session concept here. We don't need to. I mean, basically we will send the data to the service will. Client will call the service and process the request and sends the response. Here there is no point of maintaining session. It's purely used for the business purposes. Like I understand your question. Like in cart under used to maintain the session so that it used to remember previous cart items, all those things. But this is purely used for the business purposes. So this is a sample example. Just giving the binding with the WSDL and the components present in this. Like this will have these definitions. Definitions. We have seen previously in the previous screen WSDL components. Definitions, type, message, port type, binding, service, and port. So definition is basically the name of the web service. Okay. So you no need to worry about the XML structure, all those things. You just leave it aside and just try to see only what are the components present there. And type using built-in data types by their defined XML schema. Type is basically like we will be exchanging objects, like custom objects, or you can pass a string parameter. So that string parameter is a part of type in that XML. Okay. If it's a custom object, then custom object will be the type in the WSDL components. Okay. And message, basically message is that request and response. For example, you have written a method. So there will be two messages like request type and the response type. Okay, that will be created.
XSD files.
Huh?
First we'll from XSD files write those things?
Alright. If you want to write your own WSDL, then you have to write the XSDs. If you the server itself will create the WSDL for you. So in that case, so these say hello request and hello responses will be as a part of message in the WSDL. And port type basically that operation, the method name, and binding. I mean it's binding with the port type and the operations. Like method name with the say hello request will be binded in the WSDL file. I will show you how to create that WSDL. And service. The service is like where that service is running, the complete URL of that service. Okay. And the port will be the for each operation there will be one port associated to that WSDL. The port configuration will be there in WSDL file. Okay. I will show you in example. I will show you. So first thing we're going to see this sample Jax-WS Web Service in Hotspot VM. So for running this web services, right? So from Java 1.6 onwards, it's come up with, I mean, they've internally built up a package called JWS. Okay, that package contains these all APIs to write the web services. Okay, this is a simple web service which we can run it in Java 1.6 itself because we don't need any additional server. Java 1.6 contains this Java Hotspot VM. Okay.
Can we have real-time application?
Yeah, sure. I will show you that. So same example only I have taken to execute that. And this is a simple thing. Basically, the service endpoint interface we need to write. So this interface, the name is hello world. Okay. So we are defining this interface as a web service with annotation at web service. This at web service is there in Jax.jws.web service package. Okay. The same way, all these methods will be in JavaX.jws package. And first we have to define this interface as a web service, and then binding style we have to specify. Actually, in SOAP web service we have two types of binding styles. One is RPC and another one is a document. RPC is the remote procedure call. So this is the very initially they were implemented. After that they come up with the document style. Basically, this is synchronous type call. Whereas document type is asynchronous. So you know the meaning of synchronous and asynchronous, right? I mean basically synchronous calls, right? It calls the method and until gets the response, that will be waiting, right? But in asynchronous, just it calls it and the response will come later.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we have to implement this interface in some class as usual. So here is all. So this hello world is the interface implementing in hello world IMPL. So at web service endpoint interface we have to specify this endpoint interface we have to specify here with complete package like example.jax.ws.webservice.hello world. Okay, this name. Okay, and just I am returning a string hello world with the parameter appending it to that. Okay, and endpoint publisher. So we have to, that's what I told you, right? In Java 1.6, we can test it there and then and there. So this is the endpoint publisher. The URL we have to specify, and then the implementation class we have to provide it as a parameter for this publish method. Okay. So now I will show you how to execute this program in Java.
So, end user is using the, then do we have to give even the interface in that project? Not necessarily.
No, I didn't understand.
There is an interface, right?
Yeah.
And the implementation of that.
Correct.
In the client side, even that
you
should have that
I
same
will show you
interface.
how to write the client side code. Okay. Because there are two ways we can write the client side code. Okay. From WSDL, because WSDL is the front face, right? For writing any service or for accessing the client side code. For example, I told you, initially. So if a module has exposed a service, .NET module has exposed a service. So they will give you the WSDL to the consumers.
Okay.
So based on that WSDL, they have to write the client side code, and they will come to know because in WSDL there is a port type is binding is there, right? In the binding tag, we will come to know where the service is exposed, that IP address, the URL, and operation names, everything we will come to know.
Okay.
I will show you. The same example only, the one which I have explained you, right? The same example I have taken here. So this is the interface. Okay. This is the implementation class, and this is the publisher. Okay. I am going to just publish this. So publish this web service in so and so URL. Because whatever the URL you will provide, right? That will be published on that URL and will be listening on the port number, that 8000. And in the URL, right, if you want to access that, after publishing, if your web service is exposed properly, then you could able to access this WSDL file from the browser. If that is not exposed properly, then you could not able to access this WSDL. So this is the way to access the WSDL file. So this contains the WSDL components like definitions. I told you, right, the definition, hello world service, and then message type, okay, and the port type, and under that operations, get hello world as a string. This is the operation name, right, and input and output response types basically. And here you can see this port address. This is where the service is deployed. To access the WSDL file, you have to append question mark with WSDL. Clear, or do you guys have any questions?
It is not clear.
What is not clear?
Is how to access this examples and review.
Oh, okay, fine. First thing, you have to write an interface. So these things will work based on these annotations only. Okay. So, and then you have to implement that interface in another class with endpoint interface. Okay. And after that, there will be a publisher method. Just endpointer publish of URL and your implementation class. That's it. This will take care of Java API to publish that web service. So once this is exposed, then you can take the same URL, append the question mark to that, and add WSDL end of that and access it. So then if you could able to, if it is published properly, then you could able to access that. Once you get the WSDL, you are sure that your web service is up and running.
Okay.
Fine.
What is the style?
Client side
Style
organization.
What is the style?
Style.rpc and hello. Hello.
Hello world.
Hello. Java.
That is an interface. Oh, this style RPC. It's a remote procedure call. Actually, we have two types of styles. One is RPC and another one is document style. In RPC is the synchronous one. Document is asynchronous communication. Okay. I have shown you with RPC, but there is no much difference. Like there will be like when you put document, right, you can see some changes in WSDL component, the way it constructs, and moreover this communication thing, the difference. That is the main difference.
So can you show how from the client side how to access?
Yeah, that is our next step. So in 1.6 we can test it like this, but this is not the suggestible way of writing the client side code. I will show you another way, because in agent I have shown you, I have told you, right, writing a simple Jax-WS Web Service in Hotspot VM. That is what we have done. And the next step will be a client program without tool. Through this Java 1.6 accessing, we are doing it. And another one is with the wsimport tool. Actually, we have to use this wsimport tool, to make it professional way of doing it. So this is a simple example. Here you have to construct a URL for it. This is a client program, and then the QName. QName will be the show you QName will be this name. HTTP web service.jax.ws.example is a QName.
Example is a package name.
Yeah, package name. It's basically package name. Okay, and then our service name. This is also there in the WSDL. If you also. This is the service name. Okay, you have to provide this target namespace and the name in the
This is the implementation name.
right implementation, right? And then the service service.create of URL and QName as a parameter for that, and get the port. This will returns the your interface. Okay. Service.get port of your hello world class.
So that will create on a class object, then it will return to the interface.
Right. Yeah. So with the help of this interface, you are calling the actual method. So once you run this application, just hello world, and we concatenated that name, right? Yes. Whatever you said, that will be the return type. Implementation class, you can see this hello world Jax-WS, and the name we concatenated. Okay. This is one way of writing the client side code. And now I will show you one more way with the wsimport. You guys have any doubts?
What are the packages did we use for that client side service?
Which package?
We used imported some package to use that service.
Oh, Jax-WS.
Where we jar files for this?
Oh, this will come with Java 1.6 itself.
Okay.
So if you wanted to know where this Jax-WS, Jax-WS Web Service class is located, there will be a shortcut in Eclipse, Control-Shift. Then you will come to know the jar file name here, JSR 181 API.jar. Okay.
Okay.
With wsimport, we will see how to create the stub side. Basically, you know RMI concepts?
Yeah.
So RMI, probably you might have heard about stub and skeleton stuff. I mean, basically skeleton will be at the server side and stubs files will be at the client side, right? So, the same concept will place here also. I mean, in the client side, we need a stub files as well. But previous example which I have shown you, that stub bundle will be managed by Java 1.6 VM itself.
Okay.
But here, in another approach like wsimport, right, we have to generate that stub classes and all supporting classes by using wsimport tool. So basically, wsimport is nothing but a tool which comes with Java 1.6 itself. I will show you that. So with the help of this, we can write the client side. For that, we need to save this WSDL file, or we can directly provide this URL. So first, let me create some directory structure here.
pass the URL.
Right. So this is the
This is written.
yeah. This is the way to use WS import. WS import -keep will keeps the both .java files and .class files.
Okay.
It creates it, and you have to provide the URL where that service is exposed. So the files will be created in Jax-WS folder itself. So here you can see, for example, Jax-WS Web Service. Class files and Java files. So actually, this is the interface which we need to access it, and this one is the stub class, implementation of stub class basically. So with the help of these files, we can call the web service. I have already implemented a project with this same stuff. So here it is. This is the interface which is created. Okay, auto-generated code. This is. You can see here. This class was generated by Jax-WS and this is the stub class. So in stub class, we can see those operations like this is the method we are calling, right? Get hello world IMPL port.
When this is auto-generated.
This is auto-generated.
We just imported from that tab.
Right. So whatever the files which we created, right, generated, right. So just create a project here, and and copy those folders. I mean, with packages, copy and paste it in SS folder. That's it.
Okay.
And write the one client program. First, you need to create the object for this implementation stub class, and then you have to get the get hello port. There is a port method available in that class. Okay, this will return you this interface.
Okay.
And with the help of that interface, you just call this method. Okay. So this I will arrange and show this. Same thing. We call the same web service. With we have seen two types of client programming, like one without tool and one with tool. But with tool is the more suggestible way of doing it. Okay. You guys have any doubts? Clear? Because being a fresher, this web service is a bit complicated stuff. But if you concentrate, yeah, it's not that much. I mean, these web services mainly used in big applications, like I told you, right? More number of modules deployed in different technologies, developed in different technologies. Okay, fine. So we have seen both two types, and now I will show you how to write a web service and deploying it in Tomcat server. Yeah, first basically you need to create a dynamic web project. That is fine, right? WS import tool you are.
Yeah.
The first thing is if you could not able to run the WS import, then you have to set the path to JDK build. Then only you can able to access WS import. Okay.
Environment.
Right. So this is writing web service and deploying it in Tomcat. The same example I have taken here also. The like interface hello world and the same method get hello world string. and the return type will be the just same I'm returning hello world. I have not passed any parameter here, just calling that hello world thing. And first thing you need to write the dynamic project in Tomcat, and then you have to write a new XML file, some-jax-ws.xml file for this. Okay, and here you need to specify the endpoints and endpoint. So in endpoint, this should be the name of the interface, hello world, and this will be the implementation class, and URL pattern you have to provide, because otherwise the Tomcat will not know what is the URL pattern is. So that we have to specify explicitly. And in web.xml, we have to define our that URL pattern is there, right? That we have to map it as like a servlet, so that it's on deployment time. It reads the content from web.xml and deploys that implementation class as a web service with the help of those annotations, right? Annotations already there in web service implementation class as well as in the interface. So this is basically to pick up that class. So once it picks up, the web container picks up that class, and it will start reading that class, right? So already those classes having annotations. So those annotations will be knowing what to do with those classes. So and this is the thing. And we have to for deploying this in Tomcat, we need these are the required jars. Okay, you can download these jars from here. I have given. I will share this PPT with you, so that you can directly take these programs and you can run it through your Eclipse program and download these jars for running the application in Tomcat. Now we'll see how to execute this in Tomcat server. Okay, this is the dynamic web project. I have placed all the libs in lib directory. Okay. And I have written this on Jax-WS XML and web.xml. So whatever I have shown you in that thing, this is not required. This is auto-generated stuff. So once this is done, just compile it. And you guys know how to configure Tomcat in Eclipse? Servers. So in servers, you just configure the Tomcat. And one more thing, whatever the Tomcat you are using, that Tomcat JDK should be, same. The wsimport which you converted, right? The same thing should be same. You have to use the same JDK only. Otherwise, while accessing client-side code, there may be a chance of giving errors. Add the component. So this is the example. This is already reserved.
See.
Actually, know whether the code is running. So if you want to kill it, this is the statement task kill. -f is the force kill, and the PID we need to pass. PID is a process ID. this started and add that component to web container. You are aware of this Tomcat, all the stuff, right? I think probably you might have executed this servlets and JS.
Yeah.
Or you can directly run it from here like this. Run on server. These components are here. So that you will open that URL directly. So
It's been published.
yeah, the same. This is the URL will be like this is the application name, that war file which we deployed, right? That is the context path, and then that what URL we have given, right?
Pattern.
Yeah, that URL with append to the WSDL. So once this WSDL is generated, just copy paste, or you can directly use this URL. Even you can copy paste it into your local machine, and in the wsimport, right? wsimport, instead of giving this HTTP this thing, you can directly give it to your C colon copied WSDL file. But make sure that file extension should be .wsdl. Okay, once you execute this, it will create the stub and other required files. But for this application, I just have written normal Java 1.6 way. But you guys tried for accessing, writing through using WSDL and access that web service. This is the client.
Again, we are using the tool here.
Yeah, I think I have used the tool on the basis. Same thing, like once you get this WSDL, provide that URL and QNAME, and the service name. Just access it.
In that case, we don't need that hello world or Java like implementation service in client.
No, you have to,
Stub
you need
class.
this interface as well as this stub class. I forgot, I think I have already generated and kept those files here. Okay. So this is clear, or you guys having a
Similar to RMI. Similar to RMI.
yeah, similar to RMI concept is. Okay.
Once we go on,
Of course, RMI is outdated now.
it's old technology.